got a brand new Assassin's Creed Shadows trailer that for the first time showed that you can use a distraction to confuse enemies and then sneak up on them for an attack. I have a lot more new information and footage, but first, let's quickly focus on the PC trailer. Shadows supports all upscaling and frame generation technologies with an uncapped frame rate. There are 5 different graphics presets, and they showed examples of low, high, and ultra settings. However, I didn't notice much difference between them. The game offers a lot of customization options, including fully adjustable controls, which will also be available in the console versions. They also confirmed again that the Xbox Series 10 and PS5 will have a 60 FPS performance mode with upscaling to 4000 resolution. I assume the PS5 Pro might support native 4K with possibly more ray tracing features, but this has not been confirmed yet. However, we learned that Shadows is not Steam Deck verified because it falls below the low specs of the PC version. You can see the system requirements in the video now. Let's talk about some exciting new details. During my 10-hour play session, I was surprised by the perks that can change how you play. For example, the red glowing attacks from enemies work differently in Shadows. You can parry them, but you will still take some damage and be knocked back, however. There is a perk for Yusuke that allows him to parry these powerful attacks without taking damage, just like any other attack. This makes him much more aggressive, as he won't have to dodge as often. We also saw a rifle with a 50% chance of not consuming bullets when fired. This means you can use the gun more often before. Running out of ammo, it may even mean no reloading, which would be a huge advantage since reloading usually causes the most downtime. Additionally, the rifle I used in the game had ricochet bullets, making it even more powerful. So I was able to hit multiple enemies nearby while focusing on a single target. Also, there's a chest piece that lets you instantly tag enemies well, using Eagle Vision instead of having to do it manually. With the tool's master chest, you can throw a kunai at the closest enemy after an assassination. And the best part? It doesn't cost you a kunai. Basically, it's like the chain assassination skill. But now it's a perk on gear instead. I also learned that there are around 9 to 10 legendary armor sets per character. For comparison, Valhalla had 10 armor sets at launch, and Odyssey had 12 armor sets. So now we get double the number of armor sets, but they are split between the 2 characters. This does not include the Eagle Vision chest I mentioned earlier, which is a free reward for completing the Battle Pass-Style project in the Animus Hub. More armor sets will also be added for free over time. On top of that, there are many Helix armor sets with brand new playstyles that can be earned for free in the Animus Hub. There are multiple ways. One of them is the gear vendor. These merchants sell different items for Neo and Yasuki while standing next to them. You can switch to the other character to see a completely different selection. The inventory changes and refills every season. After the 0.5 hours of in-game time, you either get a cutscene when fast traveling, or you can manually change the season in the menu. When the season changes, the vendors restock. This means they might start selling weapons or trinkets that they didn't have in the previous season. The perks on these accessories are impressive, even at lower levels. For example, one trinket gives a 10% boost to all stats on light armor, which is pretty wild. Some trinkets and amulets have even crazier perks. Visually, they don't change much. But we found some really cool armor you've probably already seen. The black and red Swift Shinobi set for Neo, which I really like. However, the Ghost Walker robes are even cooler. They have a half cloak that looks amazing with the improved cape physics. It's also a nice callback to the cloak Ezio wore. We also found the Anre robes, which look like an upgraded version with a purple cape. In total, there are about 10 unique armor designs per character, with multiple color variants and slightly different patterns. You'll likely find these variants before discovering the legendary versions. Similar to what we saw in Odyssey once, you find or buy a piece of equipment. It gets added to the transmog system. This means you can always use its appearance over the gear you're currently wearing. Some of the headpieces look awesome too. However, like in Odyssey, headpieces are set, meaning you either get a hood or you don't. There's no option to put it up or down like in Valhalla. Also, just like in Odyssey, both Neo and Yasuki remove their headgear during conversations and cutscenes. I at least hope that for regular conversations. They give us the option to keep the headgear on. That was just awesome in previous games. For Yasuki, I found many helmets with built-in masks that look really cool. Of course, he has this very unique Templar outfit called the Destroyer Samurai, okay, but my favorite was totally the pirate gear. It had awesome samurai shoulder pads that made him look more powerful, and they even moved around, which was a nice touch, by the way. I asked the developers why they went with a 2-piece gear system instead of 5. They gave 2 reasons. It was difficult to mix and match different armor pieces in this setting, so they decided to combine the arms, legs, boots, and gloves into a single piece. They wanted the game to feel more rewarding. Now, when you find gear, it's a full, impactful piece with a distinct look instead of just boots or gloves. Making the game more rewarding was also why they brought back the random loot system. There are special military camps where, by defeating all the bosses, you get a guaranteed legendary item, and you can see what it is before entering. These encounters are fun because the bosses are quite different and challenging, the objective. Or it also highlights exclusive drops. For example, killing a noble might give you a legendary trinket. Most loot, however, is random. You'll find gear in chests and by taking out elite enemies. At first, they considered a system like Valhalla, where gear chests always had the same drops for every player, but they felt that. With such a large world, finding only crafting materials would get boring. They preferred letting players discover weapons and armor instead of just upgrading materials, and I totally agree. In Valhalla, you could go 5 hours without finding a new weapon or gear piece. That's also why Star Wars Outlaws feels less rewarding. Most of what you find are blaster upgrade parts instead of actual impactful upgrades. So, I'm happy they went back to the loot system from Odyssey and Origins. When you're at a low level, you mostly find green and blue gear. As you level up, purple gear appears more often, and green gear becomes less common. Naturally, legendary gear is the best. If you don't want a piece of gear anymore, you can sell or dismantle it at the forge in your settlement. The damage of every weapon at the same level and rarity is equal. For example, a level 25 green Kusarigama will deal significantly less damage than a blue one at the same level, interestingly. In Odyssey, purple gear had an extra perk slot. So many endgame builds actually used epic purple gear instead of legendary. That could still be the case in Shadows, but I'm not fully convinced yet. How it works is that every gear and weapon piece except for green ones has one set perk and one perk you can engrave at the forge in your hideout. Legendary items, of course, will have the best stats and abilities. This set perk is always the same and significantly alters your gameplay, like the ones I mentioned before. However, on epic purple gear, the first perk is always a stat increase. This means that having the stat increases on an item might actually make purple gear more useful in some cases. That said, I have seen legendary gear that not only increases your damage output, but also comes with better base stats. So while purple gear might offer flexibility, legendary gear will likely be the best choice for most endgame builds. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But for now, I think legendary gear will be the default choice for high-level gameplay. I can't wait to explore the system further. There's plenty more Shadows content coming your way before launch and beyond. So that's it for today. I hope you watched the video till this point. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed my effort, and let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'll catch you in the next video. Till then, peace out.